Wrestling was very much on display this past weekend, with WWE running shows on both Saturday and Sunday, competing with AEW on Saturday. Obviously, competitive motives led to WWE doing shows in the same slot, seemingly hoping to take out AEW numbers wise. But even if they succeeded in ticket numbers, the quality of shows put on is what actually matters if we're being honest. NXT's Great American Bash and Saturday Night's main event was up against All In Texas, while Evolution was the following day. Today, we are going to talk about three of the four shows. I'm skipping Saturday night's main event mainly because I don't really have any thoughts about it. Sadly, the only news of note was Seth Rollins getting unfortunately injured, also the Goldberg speech getting cut short, which is a topic for another day. This might be a longer video, so I'll also timestamp it if there's a specific show you want to hear about. It'll be on the screen and in the description. Starting off, we have NXT Great American Bash. NXT was on at the exact same time as All In, which I personally was not a fan of, as most NXT PLEs deliver more than the main roster. After watching it back, I don't think you could go wrong between the two of which one you decided to watch first. Jasper Troy and Javon Evans was a very solid opener. It set the tone for what was to come, showing that they have two special talents starting off on fire. Troy threw Evans all over the ring, while Evans continued to fight back with badly taped ribs and eke out a roll up victory over the up and coming monster. I hope this isn't the last time these two lock up because I love the pairing. So Ruka and Izzy Dame had one of the better women's matches of the weekend, which is going to be somewhat hard considering all the names across it. Ruka has been one of my favorites in NXT. She keeps finding innovative ways to hit the Soul Snatcher. Whenever she gets called up, she's going to be a fan favorite that the crowd can get behind. Izzy Dame can be a dark horse for most improved in 2025. Since joining the culling, she's benefited from being around Sean Spears. Commentary even brought up the fact Izzy hadn't really been steady since her alliance with Kiana James, which I found interesting. Dame and Paxley have potential women's tag team championships, or Tatum can help Dame win the NXT Women's Championship. Can't wait for Zarya to get a push as well. That spear to Paxley was nasty. Ethan Page and Ricky Saints faced off for the North America Championship in a Falls Count Anywhere match via Saints' choice. These guys always go hard, and this match was no different. These two just clicked. Surprisingly, they only had one singles encounter in AEW before their NXT feud. Probably could have gotten more matches of this caliber there as well. After Jasper Troy got involved and Saints went through two tables off of the stage, All Ego retained his championship. I don't see either man in NXT much longer. I heard rumors Saints is getting called up soon, and if that is true, Page should not be that far behind. The TNA Slammiversary contract signing was next. Not gonna take too long, but I will say all three promos were solid. Trick Williams slowly becoming a hybrid of Eddie Gordo with the capoeira, and Carmelo Hayes is actually entertaining. Dark State attacked Hendry and Santana after they put Trick through a table. I get their whole goal is chaos, I just wish they had more matches to go alongside it. Oba Femi and Yoshi Inamura had a solid heavyweight bout for the NXT Championship. They're slowly building to Josh Briggs splitting from Inamura, I feel. Briggs not being a man of honor definitely seems like it could be a deal breaker. Yoshiki was able to show a lot more of his striking ability against Oba. This excursion for him has been pretty successful and will only make him a more complete competitor. Lastly, we had Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe teaming up to take on Fatal Influence. This was Blake's first NXT match. It had its moments and overall was pretty solid. Fallon Henley is very underrated. She was the first singles champion in the group, yet Jane ended up winning the major championship before her. Jane has earned it for sure, just hoping Henley gets an opportunity to shine similar to what they're doing with Jane right now. Also, the camaraderie between Grace and Monroe was cool to see. Monroe gave Grace added confidence and the team looked nice together. Come Sunday, the story took a turn. This was the first AEW pay-per-view I've watched in a while, and honestly, it made me wonder why I stopped watching. Over time, AEW has started to grasp the element of having bangers, but also adding storylines to interlock the two. That was apparent immediately in the first main card matchup, the Ops, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Katsuyori Shibata versus Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, and Gabe Kidd for the AEW World Trios Championship. The Death Riders want to destroy everything AEW stands for, and that underlying reason floats around the entire card in various matches. The company needs a savior from Moxley and his crew, with multiple guys wanting to be the guy to do it, some for the good, some for the bad. Overall, this match was very hard hitting, with both teams hell bent on just beating each other up. After Samoa Joe picked up the victory for his team, Claudio Castagnoli and Gabe Kidd were not happy about losing, attacking the champions and taking Joe out with a stomp to a steel chair wrapped around his neck. This would set the table for what's to come later on in the night. Next was the men's casino gauntlet match. MJF and Mark Briscoe started it off. Guys like Ricochet, Brody King, and Bandito would all have their moments throughout this match. Surprise entrants like Juice Robinson returning from injury. Kota Ibushi was kicking everyone in the chest. Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander worked together. Had its funny moments like Max Caster getting laid out immediately and Ricochet getting his bald head slapped. MJF eventually ended up stealing the win. He went to the camera to say it's time this company gets back on track and that MJF is the man to do it. Adam Cole spoke to the crowd after having to vacate the TNT Championship due to not being medically cleared. Seeing Cole from his PWG ROH heel run through NXT to now, he's not only been a great performer, but from what I see, he seems like a really nice guy overall. Hopefully, he doesn't have to retire, but also we should want him to live a pain free life as well. He thanked the fans for supporting him in AEW and throughout his entire wrestling journey. The match for the vacated TNT Championship had competitors Kyle Fletcher, Daniel Garcia, Sammy Guevara, and Dustin Rhodes competing. This match was full of emotion. You can tell all four men really wanted to be champion and pull out all the stops to do so. Dustin Rhodes winning was a surprise. I thought Fletcher or Garcia was going to win, but also Rhodes has had a storied career, and seeing him win his first singles title in AEW was a special moment for sure. This one honestly might have been my favorite match of the show. Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. I made a short talking about what was at stake in the match, honestly the match as a whole. I saw this morning that Will and Swerve are now the EVPs, which could be on me to the fact that I didn't listen to the stakes clearly. I knew the Bucks would be out if they lost, but this adds a new layer to an already phenomenal match. I saw this idea on Twitter that Osprey and Swerve as EVPs could lead to a storyline involving one of them letting the newly earned power get to their head. Whether it's that or the two lead a renaissance of the company with other guys getting more opportunities to compete in high stakes matches, it puts a lot of eyes on what could be next, especially for the former EVPs. The women's casino gauntlet match was good as well. Loved Megan Bayne and Chris Statlander, and I was surprised Shiori made her debut in the gauntlet match. Seeing Tekla in an actual match was fun. I saw clips online, but she's definitely one I will seek out more matches of. Athena ended up winning. Once I saw that, it made me think Tony Storm was losing later on. Either way, Athena versus Monet or Storm is a must see bout. The Forever Champion versus the Timeless One should be a banger whenever it happens. The AEW Tag Team Championship three-way match went as most expected, with the Hurt Syndicate dominating and retaining. Jet Speed and the Patriarchy had close calls and taken the titles off of Lashley and Benjamin, but their power was too much to overcome. The ending, however, was shocking as Nick Wayne landed an unprettier on Christian Cage, separating himself from his father, I guess. Wayne and FTR went in for the kill, setting up for a concerto until Cope returned. The crowd erupted, clearing the ring of Wayne and FTR. Cope only had one thing to say to Christian after helping him up: go find yourself. If this finally leads us to the final run of Cope and Christian as a tag team, matches with FTR, maybe even Protesta, this could be a good way to eventually wind down both of their careers together. Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné went to war for the AEW Women's Championship. Moné worked the arm and did everything she could to leave Texas with more gold, but Tony proved to be too much for the CEO. In Avalanche, Storm Zero secured the win, but I don't think this is the last time we see Monet in a marquee match for the championship. Intrigued to see how she responds to her first singles loss in AEW. Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega faced off in what could potentially be their final encounter, and the stakes were high as usual. The Continental and International Championships were being unified to create a brand new championship, and these two delivered. Even though Okada systematically attacked Omega's abdomen, Kenny found ways to fight back. At one point, Omega had the match won until Don Callis got involved. After a hard fought battle, Okada reigned supreme. Heel Okada, from what I remembered early in his run with the Bucks, has definitely evolved a lot. Omega was battered and still managed to deliver a strong performance. Solid match overall. One of the craziest main events I've ever seen. Hangman Adam Page versus John Moxley for the AEW World Championship in a Texas death match. Blood, broken glass, even Shafir went through a table. The match was instantly off the rails. Death Riders and Gabe Kidd overwhelmed Page. Osprey came to help, only to be stretchered out himself. Bryan Danielson and Darby Allin made their returns to wipe out the Death Riders at ringside. The Young Bucks even appeared to attack before the deciding factor arrived. Swerve came out with Hangman's steel chain. Page didn't hesitate to use the chain, finally heaving Moxley over the top rope. The chain tightly around him. Mox tapped. Hangman reclaims the championship. A unforgettable pay-per-view for sure. Even with the competition, I think it stood out as the most must-see show from Saturday. The Women's Intercontinental Championship was defended in a triple threat match. Bailey, Becky Lynch, and Lyra Valkyria competed like they had something to prove. Lyra is such a good wrestler, and Bailey and Becky knew that immediately. They tried to remove Lyra any chance they got, but she still managed to leave her mark on the match. Close near falls and hard hits, these three went all out. The crowd was on fire to start, which made every moment mean that much more. Becky Lynch retained after a smooth roll up pin on Bailey. This reign has been pretty beneficial for Becky. Her matches with Lyra have been great, and Bailey being added to the mix adds another solid worker. I do wonder who will dethrone the man when the time comes. Maybe an NXT call up. As of Monday, Lyra Valkyria is running it back with Becky Lynch at SummerSlam, so who knows if that's when Becky Lynch will be dethroned. Jordan Grace versus JC Jane for the NXT Championship was what I expected. Never understood why some people think Grace is unsafe in the ring when she's clearly one of the better workers in the women's division. JC Jane brought her A game. She's really turned it up since winning against Stephanie Vaquer. I thought JC's reign was coming to an end. It seems like Grace is going to have a longer road to claiming the gold than Vaquer and Julia did. Blake Monroe was at ringside to stop Fatal Influence, taking out Henley and Nix on the outside. Grace bounced off the ropes and Blake cracked her with the NXT Championship. JC hits the rolling encore. One, two, three. Jane keeps her championship. Monroe turns heel in the process. I had a feeling her being face would be brief. The odds are stacked against Grace once again, this time from someone she least expected. The Kabuki Warriors, Zaruka, and Alexa Bliss with Charlotte Flair attempted to take away the women's tag team championships from the Judgment Day, as Roxanne had big shoes to fill, replacing Liv Morgan as Raquel's partner. Surprising enough, Flair got cheered a lot during this match. Bliss and Flair seemed like the fan favorites for most of the match. It was a very fun one to say the least. Each team got to showcase their skills. Flair saved Bliss from Lazaria's spear, who has another miscue spearing Sol Ruka instead. Raquel comes back in to finish Sol with the Tejana bomb, and they retain. Rodriguez was presented as a force to be reckoned with. It sucks that the women's tag title matches, for the most part, are always exceptional, yet for some reason they don't seem fully invested in the division. Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Stratton turned up the heat after Stratus got the upper hand. Tiffany's heel turn has to be near. This shows she plays that role better and could potentially play the heel in her match with Jade Cargill at SummerSlam. For how it came about, the match was better than the build up for it. Stratus gave a valiant effort, but Stratton was too much to overcome. Jade Cargill and Naomi in a no holds barred match. Bianca Belair was the referee for this match to make sure this was somewhat held in order. Belair was visibly torn watching two of her former friends absolutely annihilate each other. If this is the end of the feud for now, this was a solid match to end it on. Steel chains, tables, Naomi dropkicked Cargill into the bottom monitor of the announce table, causing it to explode. Jade Cargill won after landing Jaded off the top rope through a table. Clearly, there was unresolved business with Cargill and Belair, and as we will see later, a bigger plan for Naomi. The women's battle royal to see who goes to Paris was up next. You could have picked a few women as match favorites: Nia Jax, Slash Legend, Stephanie Vaquer. For some reason, Cole kept calling Candice LeRae Candice Michelle, so that was something of note. Chelsea Green and the Secret Harvest had one of the better showings, Lola Vice as well. The final three came down to a member from each brand: Vaquer from Raw, Legend from NXT, and Jax from SmackDown. Stephanie and Lash worked together to take out the irresistible force, and man, was this a special moment for Lash. After hitting the Devil's Kiss on the apron, La Primera ended up winning it all. Vaquer has risen quickly up the ranks on Raw, and now she is set to compete for the Women's World Championship. She cut a promo afterwards as well, saying the fans will remember her name forever. The main event was Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. Ripley has never beaten Io in singles action. These women have been a part of many classic matches. This one felt so much different than the others, though. Rhea was determined to not only defeat Io, but regain what she lost. The Eradicator wanted a fight, and a fight is what she got. Back and forth these two went, in the ring, outside the ring. Ripley hit the riptide on Io, but to her dismay, the referee was taken out when she had the 3 count. Rhea took the fight to the crowd, frustrations boiling over. Before certain disaster, Io saved herself from a razor's edge to the concrete, diving from 20 feet onto her opponent. Io connects with the over the moonsault. One, two, kick out. Sky lands a Spanish fly off the top rope. Both women are down. Naomi's music hits. She's cashing in the briefcase. Naomi is now the new women's world champion. The more time has passed, I understand the shock factor of this cash in. Cargill and Naomi seemingly are done with each other for now, and with Liv Morgan being sidelined, plans changed, I assume. Insert Naomi. Raw now has a heel champion going into SummerSlam. After this past Monday, she'll be defending it at said event in a triple threat match against Io and Rhea. Me personally, I think it's time for Ripley to move to SmackDown for a change of scenery. Either way, this ending leaves fans wanting more. In conclusion, this past weekend I'd say was a success for both companies. Emotion, suspense, action, all was on display, and no matter what show you're a fan of, you can only appreciate what most of the shows this weekend was able to provide. That is it for this video. Comment down below what you watched. Which show did you enjoy the most? This was way longer than intended, but if you made it this far, like the video, subscribe if you're new. Right now on the screen are my last two videos. I'll see you guys on the next one.